Sources tell CNN that the Attorney General of the United States, Pam Bondi, informed President Trump 2 months ago that his name appears in the Epstein files. The briefing reportedly happened back in May, but just last week, the president appeared to tell reporters that never happened. We should note there is no evidence that President Trump was involved in any wrongdoing or that he knew of Epstein's activities. Joining us now is longtime Democratic strategist James Carville. He was also the lead strategist for Bill Clinton's 1992 presidential campaign. James, thanks so much for joining us. As you know, the White House says Trump's name being in the Epstein files isn't groundbreaking or surprising. Do you agree with that?
In some ways, I do. But there is evidence he knew about it. He said Epstein likes girls, particularly on the younger side. I mean, he was obviously aware, at a minimum, of what Epstein was up to. But anybody, my name could be in an FBI file. Your name could be in an FBI file. That doesn't mean anything in itself. And nor is FBI files particularly determinative of anything. But I do agree, just because your name is in a file doesn't mean that you did anything wrong.
That's a good point. That's an important point. And we keep underscoring that here in the Situation Room as well. The Epstein case, as you know, James, is very important to at least a part of Trump's so-called MAGA base. Do you see this as something that could cause real political damage to the president if, in fact, more information is not released?
But if you think about it, well, he can't lose any of his base. He clocks in, let's just say, for 88% of Republicans, maybe 90. He's falling among independents, and 90% of the Democrats don't like it. Well, if he loses even 10% of his Republican support, that's a political catastrophe for him. I mean, he's operating under very small margins here. And they have been told, part of MAGA, and it's deeply inbred in MAGA, is that there's a certain cabal of people who are involved in child sex trafficking. And they've been told to believe this, and they're a little flummoxed now. And Trump is not assuring them in any way or form that this not happening, that he's not part of a coastal elite or Epstein and everything else. So that, yes, he does have some problem with part of his base.
The Trump administration, James, clearly wants to move on from Epstein. The director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, is accusing former President Obama of manufacturing intelligence about Russia's 2016 election interference. And now the Department of Justice is creating a panel to investigate all the evidence. What do you make of this?
Well, President Trump wanted to play golf with President Obama, and President Obama wouldn't even want to play golf with him. So why would he play golf with someone that he thought was treasonous? I mean, look, I don't think the public is going to get distracted from this. And this story has other potential avenues it can go. Remember that Epstein had I think a 7,500-acre ranch in New Mexico. And how do we know that New Mexican authorities are not looking into this? And of course, that would not be subjected to a pardon by Trump. So, I mean, that's another thing to think about here. I mean, there's a lot of different things going on here. But the idea that President Obama was just, let's say he was a traitor, let's say President Clinton was a traitor, Secretary Clinton was a traitor, they're going long right now. That's all I can say. It's 4th and 72, and they're trying something.
Hunter Biden, as you know, is very angrily speaking out this week about the 2024 presidential election and the Democrats who called on his father to exit the race, including you. And I want to play a little bit of what he's been saying. Listen to this.
You know what? We are going to insert our judgment over yours. Me and James Carville, who hasn't run a race in 40 years, and David Axelrod, who had one success in his political life, and that was Barack Obama. And that was because of Barack Obama, not because of David Axelrod. And David Plouffe, and all of these guys, and the Pod Save America guys, who were junior speechwriters on Barack Obama's Senate staff, who have been dining out on the relationship with him for years, making millions of dollars.
I want to give you a chance to respond to Hunter Biden. Go ahead, James.
First of all, it's 31 years, not 40, but okay, I take it. I'm kind of part of an Irish clan, and here's too. And I would never blame a guy for trying to defend his daddy. I understand that. And if it was the shoe was on my foot, I didn't. I did what I thought I had to do. I did it. I didn't enjoy doing it, but I'm not unhappy that I did. And you know, I'm not upset by this. This is a son that's, you know, having a difficult time. Things are emotional, and they say things and involve stuff that's said about me. That's like the 152nd worst thing I've ever heard.
All right, James Carville, thanks very much for joining us as usual. CNN's Elena Treen is here with me in the Situation Room. I want to start with CNN's Ivan Rodriguez. Ivan is over at the Tallahassee courthouse for us. He's on the scene. What do we know, first of all, about Maxwell's expected meeting with the Deputy Attorney General?
Well, Wolf, good morning. It's been a little over 2 hours now since we saw Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney, David Oscar Marcus, walk through the front doors here behind me of this federal courthouse. Both of them are expected to meet, as you said, with Deputy AG Todd Blanche. And right now it's unclear, Wolf, if the meeting is already underway, if we're still waiting for Todd Blanche to arrive. I've been outside of the federal courthouse here for the last few hours now. No clear indication on my end whether Todd Blanche has already come inside. A clear indicator of the meeting already being over, we'll know, is when we do see Maxwell's attorney exit the front doors here at the federal courthouse. We'll be very interested to see as well what he has to say. He didn't make any comments going into the federal courthouse earlier this morning, but we'll see if he does have anything to say on the exit here from that meeting. And again, Wolf, as we've been reporting, all this comes as a judge declined yesterday to release those grand jury indictments, the grand jury documents from a criminal probe into Ghislaine Maxwell. So a lot of eyes are on what comes out of this meeting here, Wolf, and as well as what Todd Blanche can possibly bring to the table as well.
All right, Ivan Rodriguez on the scene for us down in Tallahassee. Thank you very much. We'll stay in close touch with you. I want to bring in Elena right now. What do we know about the president's name in these unreleased Epstein files?
Yeah, so the Wall Street Journal first broke this news, Wolf, but then I caught up with some sources. And I'd remind you that, the Justice Department, one of their key goals when coming into the Trump administration was to go through all of these documents and try to figure out what was in the Epstein files. And what we've learned is the president's name came up several times, multiple times, according to the sources that I talked with for this. Now, we also are learning that when Attorney General Pam Bondi briefed President Donald Trump on this in May, I was told it was a routine briefing, but she told him that his name was in the documents. Now, the White House has been very clear with me in my conversations with officials there that, it was a routine briefing. The scope of that meeting was not solely to tell him that his name was in it. They talked about a lot of things, including how they believe there was a lot of unsubstantiated claims in the documents. There were multiple names of high-profile figures also included in them. But the reason that this is gaining so much attention is because the president himself denied that when asked about it last week. And so much the attention right now, the reason this story has become so monumental and lasting for about 3 weeks now is because people feel like the White House isn't being that transparent about what they actually know is in those documents. And I do want to be clear that just because his name is in there does not mean that there was any wrongdoing. The context of how his name came up is unclear. Like many other high-profile 1990s figures in New York, I mean, he was brushing arms with Epstein. He was an associate of him. That is well documented. And so it's unclear what the context of his name being in there is. The main thing is that, he was told about this and denied it. Now, I do want to read you a statement from one of the officials who I spoke with, one of the White House officials. They told me, quote, "The White House is not surprised by this. Trump's name was present in the binders that Bondi produced and handed out." We also got a statement from the White House Communications Director, Stephen Chung, on this, like a lot of things relating to Epstein, Wolf. He called this fake news. When I talked to the people at the White House, though, about this, they said they're not disputing that his name is in these documents. They're disputing the fact that they believe there's some sort of broader conspiracy, that he was tied up in some sort of wrongdoing associated with Epstein. And so, look, I think going forward, this is not something that's going to quell a lot of the dissatisfaction with a lot of the president's supporters over the handling of this, and just kind of the latest turn of the wheel and everything we're learning about this case.
They were pals. They were friends for many, many years, and that's clear, right?
It is. It's clear. I mean, they did have a very well-documented falling out long before these allegations about Epstein being a sex trafficker or involved in child abuse ever surfaced. So that's why it's not surprising that his name is in these files. It's the main thing is that he lied to reporters when asked if he was told about it.
Interesting point, Art. Elena, thank you very much for your excellent reporting.
Thank you
Appreciate
all.
it very much.